Pimps, players, your grandma's best friends. We are campinggeartv.com. I'm your host, Ben.
I'm Josh.
And I'm enjoying our Gary. I'm enjoying our outfits we have selected for this episode.
I am too. And when you said pimps, what?
Players.
And grandmas?
And your grandma's best
friend. For a second
friend.
I thought that there was something going on there with grandmas and pimps.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that would...
No.
Today we're looking at a product from ENO, Eagle's Nest Outfitters, and they're known for a lot of stuff, but I would say their flagship is the hammock.
Isn't that they're part of that huge, like, I don't know, indie punk movement, right? ENO?
Maybe you're thinking of emo with an M. This is with an N.
No, I'm not. I'm definitely thinking ENO.
Brian Eno?
Possibly.
Maybe ELO, Electric Light Orchestra?
That's probably what it was.
All right, good enough.
Probably what it was.
So, Eagle's Nest Outfitters, right? And what we've got from them is the Onelink Hammock Shelter System with a couple other goodies in it, all right? And this is really a pretty top of the line, but at the same time at a reasonable priced hammock system that's going to provide you with a really sturdy, durable hammock. You're going to have basically like a big bug screen that goes all around you with the no-see-um mesh. You're going to have a rain fly. You know, it's got really high-quality Easton stakes. The strap system is called the Slap Strap Pro Hammock Suspension System.
I'm sorry,
right?
Will you say that one more time?
Slap Strap Pro Hammock Suspension System.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, you've got a whole package of stuff in here that provides kind of this whole shelter/sleep system with everything you need to really sleep in this hammock in all sorts of conditions, whether it's great weather, whether it's poor weather, whether there's bugs out, whether there's not, whether there's two people in the hammock, whether there's one, whether your mom's a midget, it doesn't matter.
No,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter one bit.
Everything's on the table here.
You've probably seen, if you've been out on a lot of trails or at a lot of the camping sites.
Yeah.
You know, at least I would think you would have maybe seen once or twice someone sleeping in a hammock. It seems like it's becoming a bigger thing for people to get into. That
a lot of people like it.
More and more, Josh and I, when we're on a trail, we'll run into a group of people, and it's like somewhere on the trail we're going to find one person who's a hammock sleeper.
Well, and one of the reasons is because if you really want to get minimalist with it and just bring a hammock and some straps, right? Because you have to have something to hang it on. Otherwise, you're just laying on, you know, a parachute on the ground.
Right. Kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah. You know, the weight of a single nest hammock, the single nest from ENO, is 18 ounces, right? So that's, you know, and then if you get their Pro Hammock Suspension System, the Slap Strap Pro, that only weighs 8 ounces, right? So then, you know, you've got that really minimalist system weighing in at 26 ounces. Right? Hard to find a tent that weighs that much. And there's a lot of people that swear by sleeping in hammocks.
Right.
You know? So, Ben and I, on our last really big backpacking trip, you know, we've been on 2 or 3 this year so far, I don't know. But on the big one we did down in Arkansas, I took this and slept in it for one night. And, you know, it was really easy to set up, all that kind of stuff. And I had the pleasure.
Yes.
I had the pleasure of using it in some pretty terrible conditions.
Yeah. Very, very poor weather.
Very poor weather. And so, you know, I'll have some comments on that. The hammock performed well. It's difficult no matter what to sleep when it's just pounding thunder, lightning, rain, wind, the whole...
We had hail, too. Don't forget the hail.
Bears. Honey badgers.
Did you stay dry, though?
I stayed dry.
You did stay dry.
I did stay dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had one of those nights. You know the weather I'm talking about, where... It's comfortable. It's 70
when you're going to bed.
Yeah, or you know, this happens a lot in the mornings, at least in St. Louis. And within a few hours, the temperature has dropped 40 degrees.
Right.
You know, this is exactly the weather that we were in.
Yeah.
And so when we went to bed, it was just delightful conditions.
Yeah.
A couple hours later, the badness came.
So let me just tell you, right off the bat, the whole system here costs about $200 if you buy the Onelink shelter system altogether. All right. You can also buy all these various components individually, right? So we got the Doublenest hammock, which is 6 foot 8 inches by 9 foot 10, and it weighs 22 ounces. They also offer a single nest that's $10 cheaper, which is $50. The Doublenest is $60. Both of them. Wait, can you pull the main hammock out of there? Let's just pull some stuff out. Let's put it on the floor.
You want me to pull it out?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the fly. We'll get into that a little bit later. And you can see that, you know, all the things that come in here come in their own little stuff sacks. You know, you can see some different sizes and stuff.
Oh, I was told to remind you to talk about how many steaks came with the system.
Yes, we'll get to that too.
Okay.
So remind me again later.
These are the baddest steaks. Yeah. By bad, I mean good.
All of the components here come in their own little stuff sacks, as I was saying before this guy interrupted me.
So rude.
But and I actually kind of found it, you know, as these things go, a little difficult to get it easily back into their individual sacks. But the cool thing about having the whole one-link system is that it comes with a bigger sack that everything goes in, and everything gets into this thing super easy, right? So very cool there. So let me see this hog. So what we've got here is the Guardian bug net, which we'll get to, and inside of it I still have the main hammock, right? So you can see here, this is the main hammock. Lots very cool, you know, parachute-ish material that you can see here. It's a high-strength, breathable, woven nylon, right? Very cool stuff. Super strong nautical guideline, you know, holding this thing all together, keeping it all taut.
Look, who am I?
You know, you got your
who am I?
Edward Butterfingers.
A honey badger.
A honey badger. I thought Wolverine too, but I was
that would be
I was gonna be way wrong. And I'm having problems. You know, really sturdy carabiners hooked onto the hammock here, right?
So a couple things I would say about this hammock is that we've tried a couple in the past, and
yes, we have. Yes.
Sometimes the strap system used to go around a tree when you're putting up a hammock, and you're thinking, okay, no, I'm not sleeping over a 80-foot ravine, but you don't want to fall in the middle of the night. And some of these strap systems don't really give you the sense of security that I think you want.
Yeah.
The ENO is different because first of all, the rope that the carabiner tied to is solid.
Right.
And then the strap systems, I mean, they are very, very durable. Yeah. Nothing is going to happen to these guys. They're huge.
Well, let's talk about these.
Yeah, I mean, another
jumping
good thing.
ahead a little bit, but that's okay.
I'm sorry, I was just trying to chime in because I thought I was maybe being distracting by doing the whole honey badger bit. So I was trying to help. I was trying to get back to being serious.
Okay. All right. So
I'll just keep my mouth shut.
Let's talk about these straps.
All right, let's do.
All right. So these are the Slap Strap Pros. All right, and then they have a regular strap that's a little shorter. The cool thing about these, though, is that they're about 22 inches longer than their original straps, and you know, that's good because that gives you a lot of versatility. So you could have, you know, a really skinny tree, and then you can go through one of these loops here, you know, tie it off here, and then, you know, you go through it, and then you've got, you know, the whole thing down there. You get the picture, you know what I'm saying. So you've got all these different loops that you can go in and out of, just, you know, so you can tie off,
kind of like the
not into the tree no matter how you want, but then also you got, you know, to your carabiner to whatever point on the strap makes sense, right? You can strap it here, you can get it here, you know, at any point along here. And so then, you know, what they say on their website is that any two trees between 10 and 20 feet apart, you're going to be good to go.
Now,
that's kind of impressive, really.
Yeah, 20 feet is a huge distance between two trees for a hammock.
Right.
And see, the thing is that, again, sometimes if you're, depending on how, you know, out in the middle of nowhere you are, you might be surrounded by trees, but you might find yourself walking for a long time to look for a good place to go set your hammock up. And at least this gives you a lot more options where maybe some people are having hammocks and they find two good trees and they're too far apart.
So these are 3/4 of an inch, right? And the whole thing here is 9 foot 6 inches long.
They smell delightful, by the way.
Which is taller than me. They weigh 8 ounces. It's soft UV treated nylon webbing. Completely adjustable, right, like we talked about. And once you have two of these straps, which is, you know, what you have to have, with two of these straps together can hold up to 400 pounds, right?
So you barely are able to get in there.
Me? Yeah. I barely get under that 400 pound.
But you do, and it holds you.
Yes.
And you didn't fall.
Yeah. And it just so happens that the maximum weight on the hammock also is 400 pounds, so that's good stuff.
How ironic.
Yeah. So the hammock's just made with all kinds of great construction, right? To jump back to that, you got triple stitching all through here. Like I said earlier, you got this nautical grade line, which is really nice. just attractive. These things are available in all sorts of colors. The double nest here, 6 foot 8 inches by 9 foot 10 inches, right? So again, you can get 2 people in here easily. Easily. You know what I'm saying?
We should introduce a new series called Where Is It Made?
Yes.
Okay? Where is it made?
Timbuktu.
No, I'll give you 3 guesses. That's your first.
North Carolina.
Nope.
Asia.
You're very close.
Mongolia.
Well, I mean, technically the Asia is kind of encompassing this, but in Vietnam.
Oh, there you go. Vietnam.
Good morning, Vietnam.
Who doesn't love a good Vietnam every once in a while?
Oh man, I can't get enough of them.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Guardian bug net for a minute, which is really important and was important on our trip for what I was doing because there were lots of little bugs out there, right? So this thing is really cool because you basically, what you want to do first, you want to put up the hammock first, right? And then once you get that fully situated, and what they say is you don't want your hammock to be any higher than 18 inches off the ground. And that's because accidents can happen sometimes. You know, if your strap isn't set right and you get your whole body in there and it, you know, comes down the tree or something, you don't want to fall 4 feet. So you can see in the video that we didn't really follow those rules all the way, but definitely when you're doing it at home, 18 inches off the ground is a good way to be. Get your hammock set up, and then you want to come through with the bug net, which has openings on either end, right? So when you put the hammock through there, you know, loop it through, and then it's got these cords to hold it up. Hold that up, please, at the end there.
Which bit am I?
Just hold the end up.
Okay.
So you got this cord that'll hold it up, right? So then you can tie this off, you know, to the end, you know, either to the tree, to your, you know, slap straps, and then you got this whole thing holding up. You got the zippers in here on the other side. Well, you'll see it in the video.
I think we have happened here what we had before. What you have to watch when you're taking this down and setting it up again, sometimes you end up turning this thing inside out, and you're like, what's going on? So you just got to be aware of that.
But all in all,
big deal.
you can get this whole thing up in like 5 minutes or less.
Not a big problem.
Yeah, and that's after, you know, how many times have we set this up? 3 times total?
Thousands.
But 3,000 times?
3,000 times.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Right.
So the Guardian bug net here has the super fine no-see-um netting, which means that those tiny little no-see-um bugs that are really, really small and go up in your nose and eat your brain away, those won't get to you.
The ones from The Mummy and The Mummy Returns?
Yeah, those won't get to you.
Yeah.
So then, again, this has its own sack, and it has internal pockets. You know, so that's one cool thing about this is that there's lots of little pockets all around, both on the hammock and in the bug net to kind of keep stuff and keep everything organized, which I think is really nice. So that's that. That weighs 16 ounces and is 9.5 feet by 4 feet 5 inches. And by itself, it costs $55, okay? So, onto the tarp. Where'd the tarp go? Oh, here it is.
First thing I handed to you.
So, this is really a critical component.
There's a lot in this package.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, nice tight little package. Did I say that yet?
No, you didn't.
I just did.
Yeah, there you go.
I just did. So the tarp here is critical. To go out with a hammock without a tarp,
you're asking for trouble.
You're cruising for a bruising.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're daring it to rain.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
My dad used to say that all the time.
Cruising for a bruising?
You are cruising for a bruising.
Yeah. My mom said that to me a lot, and my dad probably did too, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So, you know, as you can see, it's a tarp, right? Tarp. Yeah.
It is a tarp.
I guess
I concur.
You know, if you wanted to, you could get your own tarp and do whatever you want and figure out a way to hang it above you with your hammock, right? But it's really convenient to have a tarp that's made for the specific system that you're working with.
Not to mention, this is lighter than what you're
light.
You're going to find
very light.
Doing it on your own.
And it's got, you know, all the right tie-offs in the right spots. I'll comment on that coming up, though, in a second. It's 10 feet 6 inches long, 6 feet 4 inches wide, and it only weighs 22 ounces, so that's pretty good. Poly-treated ripstop nylon, okay? Again, large coverage area. It's got its own sack. It's really easy to set up and take down.
Does it say how many Roberts thick it is?
So, no, it doesn't.
Okay.
Denier. Robert De Niro.
I don't know what the De Niro is, but Roberts.
No, there's no mention of Roberts.
Okay.
So as you can see on either side, so I'm at an end right here of the tarp, and so then there's 1, 2, 3 tie-off points, right? 2 on either end, and then 1 in the middle here. Okay. So as you'll see in the video, you'll have this up right over the top of the hammock, right? And so you'll have one tied off to the tree, the other one tied off to the tree, and then you'll have the 2 ends just kind of coming down tight and pulling it away so that the whole thing is really tight. So another one of the hammocks that they have on their site, I believe is called this one's actually called the Dry Fly tarp. No, it's called the Pro Fly Rain tarp. And I think they have one called the Dry Fly that has a little bit of a different configuration. If there's anything I would say about this, how high do you think the winds were that night?
I don't know, but I'm not a good judge at that, but I will definitely say it's windy. It's Chicago windy.
It was very windy where we were at, and because
we were even down in a valley.
On the end.
If we were up on top of one of the mountains,
yeah,
you know, it would have been.
So if you can hold that up at the end, just like I have the end, stand up, the end, just hold this.
Okay.
And kind of pull it tight. So you can see that if this, in the middle too, please. So when the tarp's up like this, right, you can see that there's no tie off at the middle here on this tarp design. It's just at the ends. So at night, I was getting hit by, I don't know, 30-mile-per-hour winds, and I found that sometimes the middle of the tarp wasn't staying taut, and the wind was forcing it to kind of slap me in the side a little bit. So
how did you feel about that? Like, how did that make you feel?
I did not enjoy it.
Okay.
I didn't enjoy it.
I mean, like your feelings. How did your feelings?
Hurt.
Okay.
But I got over it.
Physically or mentally or both or?
Really both.
Okay.
Yeah.
That must have been terrible.
So for the experience I had, I would probably go with ENO's Dry Fly, which has a tie off at the middle too. It's just a little bit of a different configuration, which would probably be more suitable for what I like and you know, that experience. But I stayed totally dry with this thing. There's no doubt about that. So again, all of this is about $200. And another cool little thing that you can buy for an extra $20 are called the Twilights.
Like those books?
Yeah, like the books. And can you hit the lights for me, Ben?
Hit the lights.
Now the Twilights you can string along the top of your hammock, as you can see here, and you can have a nice little gangster party right there in your hammock. Right? You can read. You know, it's kind of keeping things gangster for you. Thank you, Ben.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so $20, I would say throw these in there too. And this is kind of one of those cool things that you can really use all over the place. You know, put them outside for a party. You can just set them up on a regular camp. So these aren't just good for using in your hammock. These are good for all sorts of things.
Right.
So, you know, that's neat. The Easton stakes that Ben has been very anxious to talk about. This setup comes with 6 Easton aluminum tubular tent stakes, right? These are the really nice thick stakes, very solid construction, no bending.
Yeah, we've seen these before, and they are quite lovely, to say the least.
And what I like about it is that they sent enough stakes.
Yeah.
We've looked at so many tents in the recent past that didn't come with enough stakes.
6 tie-off points, 6 stakes.
Yeah, and I actually think we only use 4
Yeah.
tie-off points. So depending on how you set this up, you can actually have extra stakes, more than you need. So if you lose one, which is inevitable that eventually someday you'll lose a stake, you'll still have more. So all that, about $200, pretty sweet stuff. You can go to eaglesnestoutfittersinc.com to learn more.
Yeah, definitely head over and check them out because they have a lot of cool products that have to do with, you know, they're real big into the whole hammocking scene. Mm-hmm. If that's your thing, you know, you definitely want to go check them out.
Right.
Come back next time when Josh and I examine some banana hammocks, which are really, really great too. Something you're going to want to get your hands on. So, but until
get your hands on the hammock.
Yes, exactly. Right. So, but until then, he's Josh, he's Gary. I'm the Honey Badger. We are campinggeartv.com.